2022.
Welcome back to this Storyboard special, The Conversation Twitter Trends 2022. So what should brands take away from the trends emerging out of the Twitter Trends 2022 for their campaigns coming up in the next few months, especially around the festive clutter? We are finding out in this segment. Over to you, Preetha. You know, one of the themes that I found really interesting was finance goes social. If you can explain to us what are the sub-themes that have emerged under, this finance goes social? Because, over the last 2 years of the pandemic, in a market like ours, we have seen a lot of focus has shifted towards finance. With the kind of uncertainty that the pandemic also brought in, many who were, disconnected or disinterested with their day-to-day finances have also become suddenly interested, on investing, on, getting into newer finance and money-making avenues. If you can share, what are the sub-themes that have emerged under Finance Goes Social, it will be fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of interest that has come in India, especially in the last 2 years, around this whole conversation and topic. And while we've seen this as an upward trend, India is still at a nascent stage when it comes to investing and trading, but it's certainly growing. Just to throw some numbers, we've seen a 185% increase in year-on-year conversations around discussions on financial literacy and a 62% increase in discussions around just finance in 2021. So what we're seeing is Indians are keen to learn about the world of money, and they're turning to Twitter where discussions around financial literacy, mutual fund investments, digital payments, so on and so forth continue to rise. Most of the conversations are primarily centered around everything from seeking out or giving advice to encouraging each other to invest in the process and, making the conversation more accessible and inclusive. But most interestingly, this isn't all about just investing. Digital assets like NFTs inject a layer of culture and art into investing. And communities around these digital commodities create hype, truly signifying a convergence of pop culture and finance. When we speak about sub-themes, some of the things that we have observed in terms of what's happening now, we're seeing the rise of digital finance and Web 3.0 literacy. What we do see as coming into the future is finfluencers for financial freedom. And what we also watching play out is finance meets culture. So certain conversations to watch out for: NFT plus Bollywood, Bollycoins, financial literacy, decentralized finance, fintech startups, Web 3.0, multitude of conversations. And like you can see, they're all quite diverse, and from novices to finfluencers to fintech enthusiasts, we're seeing a variety of people riding the ups and downs of the stock market and financial investing conversations. And many of them are taking to Twitter to share their experiences. And these conversations are, in a sense, becoming more accessible. And we're also seeing a lot of brands leaning into this trend and realizing the true opportunity as to where they can be part of the conversation. Some of the quick things that we see brands doing is an opportunity to educate and teach consumers about the whole financial literacy and how they can go about investing. We're also seeing brands kind of making people aware of risks, that it's not all something that they can do on their own. They need to be aware, they need to be educated, they also need to be aware of the risks that come along with investing. We're also seeing brands champion underrepresented voices and helping people upskill. One such brand, in fact, Amphi, has been leveraging Twitter quite often to promote and inculcate financial prudence and the advantages of investing early. So yes, from financial literacy to stock markets to NFTs, we're seeing a whole variety of conversations coming through.
Yeah, and speaking from a brand, speaking about a brand campaign, Lisa, if you can elaborate, how have, brands leveraged this Twitter Trends report globally? How are they using it to their benefit?
Well, we see a lot of brands just having an appetite for this kind of insight, where it kind of leads them into strategies and planning as it's sort of an upstream way of thinking about consumers and really considering how they connect authentically, how they can kind of jump into these kind of trends. So a couple of examples we've seen Coinbase earlier this year, they jumped in at peak time with a big crypto push around the Super Bowl. So, sort of a massive splash, but they got that timing just right because finance had just exploded, become way more mainstream, and they picked that right moment to reach a mainstream crowd. So a really simple bouncing QR ad sent Twitter crazy. The conversation was crazy that night and the next day. So just a good example of sort of a finance brand jumping in there. Another great example is Samsung. Actually converging two trends. We see them really leaning into crypto, but also fandom. So they developed a partnership with a metaverse platform, Decentraland, and created a sort of virtual replica of their brick and mortar store where fans could shop using crypto. So really thinking about the sort of interconnectivity there of trends and how they can reach fans in interesting ways.
Interesting that you say that. Also, another interesting trend, for the India market was definitely fans build worlds. And Preetha, you briefly spoke about that, and we have seen in the tech space how there are these massive, tech communities that are formed, that are fans actually of the products or of the brand. If you can talk about the increasing role of the fans in today's day and age, in building brands, Preetha.
Like you said, this is one of the most interesting trends that we've seen emerge. And, global, local, regional, subcultural. In fact, there's a fandom for everyone on Twitter. And this is one of the things that the Twitter Trends report celebrates. We're also recognizing the massive influence that fans are bringing to the discussions and the discourse in India. From cricket stands to Kollywood fans, Indians on Twitter are not only today supporting their favorite celebrities, but they're also there for each other. Collaboration is a key, and they're also looking at fostering a sense of belonging. So from creating content to driving donations for a cause, fans are also finding unique ways today to participate and help the artists and creators achieve success. Like you said, fandom is not a new phenomenon, right? It's been there. But what we're seeing is the role of the fan that has evolved and is evolving. And today they are in the front and center of the conversation. So from towns to cities to states, they're becoming more vocal and more influential. So be it global fandoms like K-pop to smaller subcultures, Twitter in many ways is also giving a voice to the fandom and helping them create an impact. We've seen a 47% increase in discussions in India about fandom and a 55% increase in conversations around cricket Twitter. Just to give you an example, we've seen 105 million tweets around cricket just in the past year, and this number is growing. So what do we look at from a trends perspective in terms of what next? What we're observing, especially in India, is local voices getting louder. This in many ways is a reflection of the way people are choosing to consume content and the kind of content that's coming through. With the rise of local streaming platforms and more diverse content in the last few years, we're actually seeing many local fandoms and subcultures emerging. And this, in fact, is kind of bringing out the diversity that's prevalent in India. And it's also bringing a lot of regional voices to the national stage. So from a brand perspective, it's also quite interesting to see how brands are now engaging with their fans, because we're seeing many brands, in fact, embracing the fact that today's fans are part of their brand. And it's a very good thing. It's great to celebrate people and communities who love your brand and product and bring them closer to your brand. And that's exactly what you're saying, that we're seeing play out, especially in the tech space. We also urge brands to reimagine their collaborations and also seek out niche fandoms, because while we're aware of the biggest fandoms that have the loudest voices, but the smaller niche fandoms can often align with the brand values, bringing more relevance. So we've seen that with Samsung, like Lisa spoke. Samsung in India leaned towards the BTS community to release a special limited edition phone. And just a couple of weeks back, we also saw OnePlus India get fans involved as part of their 1+10T launch event by turning fan tweets into tweet confetti. So we've also seen streaming platforms like Amazon Prime Video and Netflix India regularly lean in and interact with fans across the country, especially the South cinema fans. So in many ways, the role of the fans is constantly evolving, and brands are recognizing this and also constantly evolving in the way they're interacting and working with these fan communities.
Finally, before we go, Preeta, sticking with you, what are the key takeaways, that brands should walk away with from, this particular Twitter Trends 2022 report, and how will it help them design their future campaigns?
Yeah. We all know we are all entering the festive season, and this is top of mind for the marketing community as they plan for the festive season coming ahead. So at Twitter, in many ways, we've seen how conversations can make a difference. And the Twitter Trends report this year explores not just top conversations, but also deeper into how brands can build relevance by being a part of this. So it's important for brands to follow conversations on Twitter because this will help them gauge the sentiment of their consumers much better than any pie chart or bar graph. We also see that the speed, the variety and depth of conversation can give brands an outsized advantage as they look at launching any new product or building cultural relevance during the festive season. Also, in many ways and many researchers have seen that conversations can drive purchase decisions both online as well as offline. And it's critical for brands to be a part of the purchase decision and the purchase journey of the consumer. So they have to look at building a full funnel strategy that will intercept the consumer along their journey. And many of them have successfully used the Twitter powerful suite of ad solutions to drive people to buy. So in a nutshell, what we would also say is that positive conversations are especially memorable, and brands can leverage Twitter's leaned-in audience by teasing upcoming launches, creating that added buzz, and also converts to inspire in many ways and drive intent. In fact, today, social brand conversations are the new reviews, and brands need to be a part of this to succeed in this festive season. So I would like to conclude by saying brands should converse to convert.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, Lisa. Thanks for joining us, Preeta.
Thank you so much, Shivani. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.